financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
All right, welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is too much debt and now facing a drunk driving charge. Not what you'd call the most fun topic in the world to talk about, but the show is Law and Reality, and this is a show on reality. Good morning, Brian Small.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, it's actually a very timely topic, this being the holiday season and people going into considerable amount of debt spending during the holiday season and unfortunately making poor decisions about whether to get into a car after festivities.
So you like my topic selection?
I think it's an excellent topic.
Okay. I'm going to do the rest of the introductions, and I would hope that I can get an affirmative like good morning back. Good morning, Jeff Linden, tax expert.
Good morning back, Ken Gross.
Good morning, Scott Weinberg, criminal law expert.
Holiday peace.
Sorry, Brian. But thank you for the
But
comment.
very common, very
Yes,
common.
very common.
Someone in a drunk driving usually has a lot of financial
And
issues.
very well stated.
And they're going to.
Let me
Thank
go
you.
on and say that.
This
All right,
result,
we're going to
yes.
do a case study and to illustrate our problem. Our client is Bart. He's single. He owned Bart's Diner. Excuse me. Bart's Diner failed and went out of business. He had $85,000 of payroll taxes unpaid in Bart's Diner. $75,000 of credit card debt. A lot of it came from putting charges on the card and cash advances to finance the diner while he was trying to keep it going. Medical bills, $15,000. He has no house, no IRA, no 401k, $12,000 in the bank in savings. That's his situation. Now, there's good and there's bad. He lands a job as the district manager for a chain of restaurants, making $95,000 a year plus bonus. That's good. The bad is he receives threatening letters from the IRS that they're going to levy his wages because of the $85,000 in payroll taxes that he didn't pay. He's stressed. He goes to a local pub, has a couple glasses of scotch, followed by 2 beers, gets in his car to drive home. Uh-oh. And he's busted. Now let's talk about the debt and taxes first, and then Scott will lead us through how to deal with the drunk driving.
You ever heard the expression day late and dollar short?
Yes.
Okay, so
What does it mean?
in this case, Bart should have acted while he was still unemployed.
And file a Chapter 7.
And filed the Chapter 7. Because if Bart had done so, he could have gotten rid of the $75,000 in credit card debt and the $15,000 worth of medical bills via a Chapter 7. He would still be stuck with the $85,000 in payroll taxes because payroll taxes are not dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Are any taxes dischargeable in bankruptcy?
Income taxes are dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Is that correct, Jeff? He's our tax expert.
Yeah. Income taxes
Are
can
you
be
saying
dischargeable.
Brian is correct?
Brian is
you know,
always
I
correct.
resist going here, but on this occasion, Brian is correct, potentially, if the taxes are timed right.
In order for a tax to be dischargeable, an income tax to be
I'm glad you
dischargeable,
qualified Brian's correctness. Go on,
a
Brian.
tax must have come due at least 3 years ago. The tax return had to have been filed at least for 2 years, and you couldn't have been assessed in the last 180 days.
And it had to be income
240
tax.
days.
And it had to be income
240
tax.
days.
And it had to be income tax. So Bart's is pay. What do you mean payroll taxes? What is that?
So payroll taxes are your withholding taxes. So if you're a W-2'd employee, you see that taxes are taken out of your check.
Bart was not a W-2
No,
employee.
but Bart had employees.
Oh, and he didn't pay his payroll taxes on his employees.
Right. So the portion of the tax that you withhold from your employees
Federal withholding tax and Social Security.
It's called a trust fund tax. And it's never dischargeable in bankruptcy because you held it in trust to distribute it to the government.
Can you make offer and compromise to get rid of some of that?
Payroll taxes, yes.
Yes.
If you qualify for the offer and compromise. So let's bring it back to where we are.
So he could have filed the
Chapter 7.
Chapter
But he can't
7.
because he's got the $95,000 of income. That's your point?
Maybe he can't.
Okay.
So he's got $75,000 worth of credit card debt, $15,000 worth of medical bills. He's making $95,000 a year. He can now afford to pay some of that debt, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, look. He still possibly, even though he's making $95,000 a year, possibly can still file a Chapter 7.
Because?
Because, well, not yet. See, he's got $85,000 in payroll taxes, and he's got $90,000 worth of credit card debt and medical bills. What we need to do is situate him so that his tax obligations exceed his consumer debt. In this case, his payroll taxes are $85,000 and the other debts are $90,000.
So just
we
get it
take
down.
some of that $12,000 that he has, we pay down either the credit card debt or the medical bills so that they're less.
And then you can put him in a Chapter 17 because you don't have to do that means testing that we've talked about.
I can put him in a Chapter 7 and get rid of it. If I can't.
Now he's got the $95,000 of
So
income.
now what we're going to do is we're going to look at Chapter 13. Can he repay the payroll taxes, which are priority and non-dischargeable? Does he pay them back over the entire life of the Chapter 13 plan? And in fact, really, the taxes might be priority, might be non-dischargeable unsecured debt.
So if he can
but there's
do
a
that,
possibility
the
he goes
money
into a
goes to
Chapter
pay
13.
the taxes and he still pays the credit card companies zero?
Theoretically, that's one outcome that could happen. He also could have to do debt resolution and do an offer.
But if you put him into a Chapter 7, you would not be discharging the payroll taxes.
No, because
so
they're
Jeff,
never dischargeable.
What do we do about the payroll taxes? Is this an offer and compromise scenario?
Yeah, especially if he has used the $12,000 in cash to help pay down some of his expenses, because he doesn't have any real assets. And so as long as his budget gets him low enough, he'd be able to qualify
But he's making
for an offer.
$95,000 a year.
Right, but what he's making is going to get weighed against what he has to spend that's allowable by the government, so there's going to be a net factor.
We come back to from the break. I want to get drilled down on that a little bit more specifically in terms of what Bart's looking at.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. All right, so Bart's situation, to summarize what you're saying, on the facts I gave you, as long as you can then reduce the consumer debt so his business debt is greater, you're going to put him into a 7, you're going to get rid of all the debt except the payroll taxes. Jeff, on an offer and compromise, if he's making $95,000 a year, I'm figuring that offer is going to cost him around, he has 0 assets, but his 1-year income less allowable expenses, I'm saying, would probably come out to being $15,000 excess. So how much would his offer have to be?
In that case, his offer would be $15,000, and he'd have to, when you apply for it, he'd have to pay 20% of it up front with the offer. That gets applied to reduce the debt, and then he'd have 5 months to pay the balance.
So to give you the time frames, it takes about 8 months for the government to process the offer.
Correct.
Then you got 5 months to pay. So if Bart sets himself up on a payment plan of saying, where am I going to come up with the 15 grand? He starts putting away $1,000 a month, he'll be fine. And if he doesn't have the 20% of the 15,000 right up front for the 3 grand, what we do is we put in the offer at a lesser amount, knowing that it's going to get bumped up when it's analyzed, so we reduce the amount of the 20% down payment is
Right.
what we do. So that would be the strategy on the offer and compromise. There's a little bit of a caveat. We were talking about at the break, and it's complicated, but I'm just going to throw it out there, is if the government thinks that it will make more money by just taking your money and not doing the offer based upon how long the statute of limitations runs, it has the right to reject the offer. It doesn't always do that, but it is an issue that we'd have to look at in Bart's case. It wouldn't be an issue, for example, if he owed $295,000 of payroll taxes, because then there's no chance he could pay off the debt within the statute based upon his income. The point here is it takes analysis. You go to these national companies, they just say, give me $7,500, we'll make the tax go away. If life was that simple, it would be great. You have to be careful, though. Just because they say they're going to make it go away, what happens to people is they give them the money, 9 months later they call you up and say, sorry, your offer was rejected. You need to do the right analysis in order to make sure the plan's going to work. Now, Bart, he freaked out. He's getting those notices. He goes, he gets busted for drunk driving. He's pulled over. Scott, what should he do?
Well, what you find out is that usually is a symptom of other things going on. It's not the typical situation where someone is fine the rest of their life and they get a drunk driving. It's usually something else is going on. The statistic that the courts use is every time that you get a drunk driving or you get stopped for drunk driving, you do it 50 other times. And even if it doesn't work in your specific situation, that's what the judge thinks. On average, they don't think the 30 years you've been driving, this is the one time
that you got
caught under there. It usually
I
is
swear to
symptomatic.
God,
I swear,
this is the
this is
only time it's ever happened.
I had 2 beers, right? So what you do is you have to at least analyze what's going on in the client's life in order to figure out how to help them through the case. But in terms of what Bart should do
right now,
when he's stopped, it depends on if this is really his first drunk driving.
First drunk driving.
His biggest concern right now, and it sounds maybe ridiculous, is he wants to protect his driver's license because he needs to go to that work. He needs to keep that job.
I
he
want to
needs
ask
to
you
keep that
a specific question,
$95,000.
They just pulled me over. I'm Bart.
Yeah.
I'm in the car. He's walking up. He gets there. He asks me for my driver's license, my registration, and he says to me, "Have you been drinking, sir?"
So the number one thing you
What
do
do I
is,
do now?
So You're polite, you give them your license, you give them your registration and your proof of insurance, and that's it. You say, I want to talk to my lawyer. Now, you don't have a right to have a lawyer there. They're still going to try and do what are called field sobriety tests. They're going to want admissions about your drinking, how much you had to drink, and the number one thing you do is shut up.
So
Because
I don't say to him, yes, I had a couple drinks.
You're never going to talk your way out of it. And the one or two times that you don't know if that's the time. So the better guess is don't play their game.
So say, I want to speak to a lawyer, and I've been told not to discuss any of this.
That's exactly right. And they're going to arrest you, but you know what? They're going to arrest you anyway.
What about, does he tell me to get out and walk the line? Do I get out?
The only reason
He tells
they
me to get out, I have to get out, don't I?
Can I finish what I'm going to say?
Yes.
The only reason that
Just
you
this time.
do one of those field sobriety tests is to get evidence against you. The PBT, the handheld test that they give you, it's only to get a right to arrest you. There's no obligation to take any of those tests. There's no obligation to answer any of those questions other than, I want to talk to my lawyer. Now, the difference is, if they take you back to the station and they want you to take a breath test or a chemical test, there are license sanctions for refusing that. So on your first offense, if you refuse the chemical test, blood,
That's
urine,
back at
or
the
breath,
station.
back at the station, you're going to get your license suspended for a year. It's called an implied consent
But if you're-
suspension.
but if-
But you can get a restricted license, but you have to go to circuit court to do it. So if you want to go through those routes, those steps, then you should refuse that too.
But if you're on the side of the road and they say, "Can you step out of the car, please?" and you politely say no.
No,
Can
you get out of
blow
the
into
car.
this? But all right, will you blow into this and you politely say no? Will you
Exactly.
walk this line and you politely say no? They're going to arrest you.
They're going to arrest you anyway. So the point is, they're always going
But they're
to
not
arrest
going to
you.
arrest you for, they're just going to arrest you for they're going to arrest you, but you haven't given them any evidence. That's your point?
It's exactly right. You have no obligation to do that. Now, the difference is, are they going to charge you with resisting obstructing arrest? No, because you're not resisting the arrest. What you are doing is you're not following the request of a police officer. However, you are doing what you have to do. You don't have to take any of those tests. You have to give them your ID. You have to conform to what they want to do, which is
I
arrest
have
you.
your
But
number.
you don't have to do any
I'm
of
Bart.
that.
I have your number in my wallet. It's 800-NO-JAIL-1. Can I call you while the officer's on checking my license?
You know, it's interesting. I do get those calls, but it's usually because a police officer thinks I'm going to tell the client to conform with what they want, and I'll usually say, don't do any of that, other than if they take you back to the station, if you don't mind having your license suspended, then refuse that too. If it's your second offense, always refuse the chemical test because your license is going to get revoked if you're convicted
The
anyway.
chemical test back at the station.
Exactly.
I will take a break. We'll do more of this.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Criminal matters are serious. Your freedom, future, and wallet are on the line. Criminal defense attorney Scott Weinberg is a former prosecutor and renowned criminal lawyer. For over 30 years, he's the go-to defender in Michigan to protect your rights. Scott's advice: you have the right to remain silent. Use it. If charged with a crime, call Scott Weinberg today. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. And remember, stay silent.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network and also on KISS 105.9, Tuesdays 10 a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. and on KISS Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Remember to sign up for our free monthly contest. Free $100 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. All you have to do is go to the website, pop your email address in, and you're entered. Every month we make those giveaways. It's a great opportunity. We have a seminar coming up Wednesday, December 11th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. I'm going to become debt-free in 2020. Great idea. How to switch from trying to keep pace with your debt to actually saving money for your future so that when you get to retirement, you've got something to retire with. Debt elimination is a key part of that process. Special segments by Jeff Linden on taxes and also by Scott Weinberg on criminal family-related issues. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also remember, you can always come in to the firm for a free consultation. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online to sign up. Debt issues and estate planning issues with Brian, tax issues with Jeff, business issues with myself, elder law issues with Pat Samasco, disability and workers' comp issues with Jeff Kirshner, criminal issues with Scott. Just take advantage of that free consult. It's not a meet and greet. We analyze the situation. We tell you what you need to do. We tell you what it's going to cost, so then you can plan accordingly and make your proper decisions. Free reports also. We've got free reports on the website. Just go to the website. There's 4 free reports. Brand new one, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by myself and also Jeff Linden. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formation, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Michigan and in the Detroit area. Pat Samasco has a Retiree's Guide from Social Security. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Michigan Criminal Lawyers PLC, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. I'm Bart. I know what I'm supposed to do because I know you. I have your number. I got pulled over. He told me to get out of the car. I got out of the car. He told me to pull my hands up. I pulled my hands up. He told me to touch my nose. I touched my ear. He told me to walk, and I wobbled. He stuck this thing in my face and said blow, and I blew. I know I should have called you. I didn't. Now what happens? Am I like that stupid?
You are 99% of everybody, including every lawyer and intelligent person I've ever advised that to. All right? It's a nervous thing. You are sitting there with a guy with a gun who's on the side of pulled you over on the side of the road, and you've had probably too much to drink anyway, so you're not thinking clearly. So let's say you've gone through those field sobriety tests.
He still arrested me.
He's going to arrest you. He's going to take you back to the station. It's your first offense, okay? Most first offenders will take that chemical test, that breath test, and if they blow over .08, they're going to be charged with some type of drunk driving, operating while intoxicated.
I did that
So that's the case. So if you do that, we still as lawyers, we have the ability to challenge that. We can challenge the results of that breath test. They have to certify those machines. They have to look at them every year, every quarter, every month, sometimes every week. And we can look at those logbooks to see if it's admissible. And if they aren't,
can you challenge
then we can
whether he had the right to pull me over in the first place?
Well, those are the three. So 3 things with drunk driving. 1, they have to have a right to stop you. it's not very hard to stop you. You could have a cross hanging from your rearview mirror, and because it's a visual obstruction, they can stop you. So it's not very difficult, but they have to have a reason. And then once they stop you, they have to have a reason to arrest you and suspect that you've had some type of alcohol or drug in your system that's affecting how you drive. That's why they give you those tests, the finger to nose, that PBT test, the preliminary breath test, gives them probable cause to arrest you. So those can be challenged too. But once they get that, it's the result of that breath or that blood test that they use to try and convict you for being under the influence.
I understand they take you back to the station and they make you blow into the machine at the station.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you could lose your license and et cetera. But blood test? They can take blood?
So they can take, it's called a chemical test. Urine, blood,
They
or
do
the
that at the
common
station,
one
you
is
go to that, you
breath.
have to go to a hospital.
They can take you to a clinic. Sometimes they have people come to the station. Most of the time they'll take you to the hospital, to a clinic, but they usually get a search warrant. So what they'll do is they'll immediately, if you refuse that breath test, they will fill out an affidavit, send it to one of the magistrates locally or a judge. They'll sign it and then get it right back to the station and take you over to the police.
I did
I mean, to
everything
the
wrong.
hospital.
I took the test. I failed it. Now what happens? Got 2 minutes. Tell me what's going to happen to me. Am I going to be able to drive? Am I going to jail? What's going to happen?
So you took the test, which means you get a temporary driving permit, which is unrestricted. It allows you to drive as long as you are otherwise not suspended anywhere for any purpose throughout the period of the case. If you're convicted of a OWI or a impaired driving, you're going to be suspended for 90 days, but possibly have a restricted license to and from work, counseling, AA, most of the important things in your life for that period of time. And at the end of the 90 days, you can get your license back.
All right, so if it all goes well, 'cause even though I've made a big mistake and everything else, I can drive on a restricted license for 90 days, and
Most
after
of the
that I'll get it back, and now I have a first offense.
Well, that's the thing, but that's if you get convicted. You know, there's many ways to try and see if we can get it reduced under that.
Now, listening to it, I can understand. So if I don't, I get pulled over. I don't have any crosses on my mirror. I get pulled over. I don't do the sobriety tests. I don't do anything. I don't say anything to give them any evidence. Then I'm giving you ammunition because you can say they should have never stopped me in the first place.
Exactly
so
right.
you get to the point of there's no basis to make the arrest.
And that's what the lawyer, an experienced lawyer, can do, is try to challenge that case. That's what you have to look at. What are the challenges of it? What are the risks of challenging it? For instance, sometimes you might...
got it.
Yeah.
Now I got it. I know you're going to like this. If I get pulled over and I'm stone cold sober and I haven't had a drink in 6 weeks because I don't drink, I don't need to take the test because they're not going to be able to prove anything. 'Cause I'm going to remember what you told me. I'm going to say, nope, I'm not going to take the test.
I don't agree with that.
In that case, I should take the test.
So that's the
because
case you should take.
I know I'm not going to give them any evidence.
It's exactly right, and you're not going to get your license suspended for a year
And even
because
if
you're going to take the
even
test
if I
and blow
screw
it
up on this because I've got hearing problems or something, the breath test is going to clear me.
That's exactly right.
Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.